How do you balance documenting your family, your kids, your everyday life, while still being present in the moment? See the water? Being a parent has been probably one of the most difficult and challenging things that I've taken on in my life. And adding that layer of trying to document my life and my growing family, it can easily double, triple, or even quadruple what that difficulty is. The very act of raising the camera to my eye created a barrier. I was looking at lighting. I was looking at composition. I was thinking about what would be the perfect expression to document for this photo. And at that point, I was no longer there. I wasn't present. If you can relate to this, if you're struggling with finding a balance, there is a way to find balance. But what I found is it doesn't actually look like how I thought and envisioned it in my head. I wanted to thank today's video sponsor, Squarespace, for allowing me to talk to you about this very personal topic of mine. I've actually been using Squarespace for over 10 years. Their templates make it simple to create and maintain a professional looking website without any type of coding experience necessary. My Squarespace website was an essential part of how I built my photography business. It showcased my portfolio, was able to share recent work on my blog, and most importantly, I was able to take in inquiries from potential clients using a contact form. If you're one of those photographers relying on your Instagram profile to be the hub of your photography work and your business, I would really consider making a website on Squarespace. You can visit squarespace.com/RegieBallesteros to start a free trial. And when you're ready, you can get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. There are two rules for me that I take on creatively when photographing and documenting my family. The first is I always have a camera with me. It's either worn around my neck, slung around my shoulder, or in a fanny pack. I wish I could always have it in my hand. When it comes to my family, that's just not the dynamic that's realistic, because sometimes one of my kids needs me to carry them. I need to go grab them food or a snack. I just always need the ability to have my hands free. And connected to this is you need to have a camera that you're comfortable carrying with you around all the time. So for me, that's why I either have my Ricoh GR3 or GR3X, and most recently I've been using a lot this Fujifilm X70. The next rule, which is probably more important, is daily practice with your camera. You have to be at a point where it's seamless and instinctive to operate your camera without the need to fumble with the technicalities, to think about the settings, anything that might take you out of that moment. I'll be honest, I had a head start with this, as I was already photographing weddings for 4 years before my first kid was born. Being able to navigate difficult situations, photograph with manual settings on the fly while a lot of things are going on, I already know how to do that. So if you're not at that point yet, I really encourage you to practice as much as you can so that you can get to that instinctive nature with settings, with finding light, with lens choices, because even thinking about, is this the right lens, is this the right autofocus setting, can make you frustrated and take you out of the mood and your ability to be present within that situation. how do I document my family without drawing attention or distracting from that moment, from making it not candid anymore? The simple answer is I don't. I personally believe in being a present member of the family. So that means that the photos of my family are never taken in stealth. My kids are always well aware that, daddy has his camera and he's taking pictures of me. And I've actually worked very hard to make it a positive experience for my family. I've explained to them the significance of taking photos, both to me as an artist, like showing them things that I photograph for fun, and also just emphasizing the importance of preserving these memories. I'm showing them pictures all the time, and I invite them to have that conversation so that they can talk about the memories, so they can remember what happened. One of the funnest things now is having my kids creatively collaborate with me to make photos. By having them kind of give input, they'll tell me, what to take a photo of, what they're gonna do while I take a photo. And it's this act of, bonding over creating the photo that creates a separate memory that's almost like beyond the physical photograph itself. When we get into photography, it's because we have this kind of aesthetic taste, this bar that's like, this is a good photo. And we start learning how to take photographs in order to try to recreate things that fit that bar. And when it comes to documenting my family, the first thing I had to let go to start being a little bit more balanced about this process is knowing when it's okay to just get a shot instead of the shot. And there are times where I had a birthday or a trip or something, and I was frustrated because I didn't get the shot. Maybe it was out of focus. Maybe a kid was blinking. Early on, I realized that maybe the imperfect shot is the perfect shot, because the perfect representation of that particular moment is that you didn't get it. These are your kids' personalities, your dynamic with them. And even something as the photo not being composed well or out of focus or motion blur, it actually is a testament and a documentation of how you as a photographer were feeling and acting and operating the camera at that time. That's how I'm able to accept if a photo is not perfect by these artistic or technical means, because it's okay to just have a photo that reminds you of what happened of that day, instead of just always striving to make sure that you get the exact photo of the moment that memory happened. There's a crucial caveat to documenting my family. Sometimes that means I have to be okay letting the shot completely go, not having a photo of it at all. There are moments when the camera must take a backseat. It has to. If one of my kids needs help, needs comfort, if my wife needs help doing something or she's frustrated, I have to be able to read the room and understand when the photographer in me has to step aside. And this is not to say that things are always like this. Sometimes there are times when things are chill, when I have time to find my shot. Maybe my wife has got them and I take a few steps back and document this scene where my two kids and my wife are walking down this cool hallway with this cool light. And I'm very lucky to have my wife, a partner that acknowledges that this is important to me and important to give to my family, this documentation of our lives. And she values this, but she also values the assurance that me, Reggie, is going to know when the photo is not worth it. That I'm not going to let the pursuit of photographing a moment compromise our family's safety, our happiness. In this grand scheme of things, as tempting as like the shot, the memory can give back to us, it's only a tool that's supposed to kind of enhance our lives, how we cherish them, but it should never overshadow your life.